Top of the hour.
All right. Welcome to another episode of Star 42 with Michael.
And Jace.
All right. I want to say, like, go into the chit chat of how are you doing and all this stuff. But prior to just hitting the record button, Jason and I have already been started a heated conversation of stuff.
Right here. Let's take it back and then we'll come right back into it. But just so you guys know who are not sure if they want to listen, we're going to touch on build agent and self-hosted AI and who knows whatever else. But first, I just finished all the Star Wars movie except the last one with my kids. And my son absolutely loves it. We have an hour and a half left of the last movie.
Now, let me ask you this. What was the order that you went through for the movies?
Theatrical release.
Okay, you went through theatrical
release. Episode 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, and now we're on 9.
Okay, but not Rogue One or Solo in there, right?
We did not include any offshoots. I would call those offshoots. They're not out of order. They're not out of sequence.
Yeah.
But they're not in the episode list.
They're background stories.
Exactly.
And I will say this. I think, number one, Rogue One may be one of the best movies ever made, except for the original trilogies. I will go on that hill.
I'm going to see if my kids will watch it with me. My daughter is furious because we stopped in the middle of Percy Jackson. We finished reading book 3 to finish some more Star Wars stuff. And I'm like, oh, we're going to do one more movie. And she's like, but Percy Jackson. And I'm like, yeah.
Your daughter needs to realize there's more important things than Percy Jackson. Far more important. and number two, I will also say this as well. I'll go on the record saying this. I really enjoyed Solo.
Yeah,
I haven't seen people, it. Well, I'll say this. A lot of people give it a bad review, and it came out right around The Last Jedi, and I think people were turned off by The Last Jedi from the new sequel that they didn't go to see Solo in theaters. But myself and my friend who are avid Star Wars fans, long time since I was a Star Wars fan in high school when only nerds were Star Wars fans and they were losers. And I enjoyed Solo a lot. It was fun. It was great. Great movie.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to go to finish it out though.
Awesome. Well, good. I'm glad your daughter's getting good education. Obviously not something the public school system could do. So, maybe we'll fault the American education for that. But also, don't forget, the Clone Wars cartoons, even though they're Clone Wars, there's a lot of great content there.
There is a lot of other stuff I want to watch with them, like The Mandalorian, a whole bunch of things.
Yes, and really, if you watch the Clone Wars cartoons, even though there's a lot to it, there's a lot of stuff that sets a background for, other movies and stuff.
Yeah.
Just FYI. All right, well, it's good to know. You did theatrical release.
That's correct order, right? I've been told by others that I should have gone in order 1 to 9. And I'm like... No.
Yeah, no. You started with 4, 5.
Right, I started with.
Yeah, which is generally the right order. I think I've heard you could do 4, 5. Then after the reveal, do 1, 2, 3 for the backstory, and then go into 6 for we're tying off the Anakin Skywalker stuff.
I see. So
and then skip 7, 8, 9. Just skip it.
I want to add a little bit more flavor to this because I think it's just so interesting. So, what was I going to say? The only other story that's kind of like this, where people have these heated opinions that I know about, is the Chronicles of Narnia. Because the Chronicles of Narnia, the witch, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah, no,
you don't know that at all.
I know of it. I prefer the epic movie comedy version that kind of summed it all together into a bunch of nonsense.
That was only one book. That wasn't the whole thing. There's 6 books.
Anyways, it's enough.
There's a similar argument about which way it should be because originally the book order was different, and today it's a new order.
I don't know if the Narnia counts for anything worthwhile. Lord of the Rings, Tolkien makes sense to me. Harry Potter makes sense. Star Wars, obviously. Narnia.
It's a classic. You can't discredit it.
I don't know. I guess I never got into it.
It's okay. I'm not a huge I don't advocate for it all the time, but it's you should know of it and what it is.
I know of it. I know there's a lion, a witch, and a wardrobe.
That's one or whatever. It's fine. We're all good. Should we get into other stuff? You want to share anything about your week? Thanksgiving's around the corner.
Thanksgiving. Yeah, we're not going anywhere. We don't live around a lot of family, so I'm all right, we take it easy. I'll do some cooking. I do the cooking in the house.
Yeah.
Sometimes we like to travel, but this year we're like, you know what? We're gonna chill.
We're also chilling. We're staying close.
Are you guys gonna go see a movie or something? We do that.
I don't think so.
I love to do that.
I think we're just like, Thanksgiving is by far my favorite holiday, and not because of like what it represents historically, but because of the expectations of the people attending Thanksgiving are nothing.
Oh, you know what's even better?
What's that?
Being Jewish on Christmas, the absolute best holiday here in America.
Okay.
Here's why. Number one, there's no holiday stuff whatsoever. None. We're Jewish. We don't celebrate any Christmas. We do Hanukkah. And by the way, Hanukkah, once again, is bottom of the barrel holidays. All you do is eat fried food, light candles every night. That's it. It's not even a day off holiday.
See, when I was a kid, I just heard Hanukkah is like 12 Christmases. Or 14. Is it 14 days?
8 days. Yeah.
8 days.
And it's only in the U.S. that giving presents is a big deal. So my wife and I are like, all right, you know what? We're going to go more traditional. We're going to do eating the fried stuff like donuts or sufganiyot, as it's called. And we're going to play dreidel and light candles. But over the years, we're like, look, the real purpose of the holiday is to celebrate the Maccabean revolt against the Greeks and Syrians, which had a military victory against this much larger force. And incidentally, well, the whole point of Hanukkah really was you had Judah Maccabee. He had a small Jewish group against like this much more powerful, I think it was like a Greek Syrian Empire and Greeks military battle. And eventually the Greeks and Syrians took over the temple and defiled it, right? And what happened was Judah Maccabee had this small resistance group that did basically guerrilla warfare to eventually beat them, which is very similar to the movie like Die Hard. So that's why I say Die Hard is really a Hanukkah movie. It's not a Christmas movie.
All right.
Okay. But that being said, when the Jews won and then they ended up, getting the temple back and had to clean it up, there was only enough oil for one night and they lit it and the oil in the lamp lasted for 8 days. So the whole oil thing is just we have to work God into some miracle here. The actual miracle is the fact that the small Jewish group beat these Greco-Syrian military. They were vastly outnumbered.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic to learn.
Yeah. And it's I think a rabbinical holiday. So it's not in the Torah or Bible. And so there's nothing around, no work or anything. So I know that was a tangent, but that happens on this podcast. But
it does.
On Christmas Day, when you're Jewish, it's great because there's no work. Typically, no one's working. There's no family obligations because there's no holiday to celebrate. Most of everything's closed, minus Walmart and McDonald's or whatever. And you're just like, it's a true day off.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where it's like, if you like Thanksgiving for the reasons you were talking about, convert to Judaism. And be like, sorry, I'm Jewish. I get a full day off on the 25th of December. There you go. I feel bad for the families of mixed Christian Jewish, where they have to then go do some holiday thing with family. And you're like, oh.
It just gets so complicated.
Yeah. No, stick with one thing.
Stick with one thing.
Yes. So anyone, 5 or 6 of you who are listening, which means it's like
we have 11 or 19 subscribers on YouTube.
Okay. So well, there's 0.2% Jews in the world. So there's a 0.2% of all listeners or subscribers out there. Happy Hanukkah. Take a day off on December 25th. Enjoy it.
Awesome.
All right.
I didn't know that about that history of that. That's fantastic. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
Of course. I'm full of useless. Well, I shouldn't say it's useless, but
I think it's totally useful. If for nothing else, trivia.
The funniest part about this whole Jewish backstory is when I worked at Children's Hospital for the department holiday party. We played this game where we had teams and they would ask a question. Everyone had to write in an answer. And if you had an answer that no one else had, you got a point. And of course, because they're being ecumenical and holiday stuff, most of everything, of course, people wrote in Christmas related answers. But since I was Jewish, I wrote in all the answers around Hanukkah. And there were things like, I think it was something like, write something that starts with an M. And I'm like, Maccabean revolt. And what's and they're like, what's holiday food you make at your house? And I'm like, sufganiyot. And so I would all this stuff, and we didn't win because they kind of cheated. Like, that's not fair. And I'm like, you said holiday, like it's the holiday. Yeah. Anyway,
that's ridiculous. But
I know I got cheated. Children's Hospital, if you're listening, Denise Zabowski, CIO. I feel cheated from the holiday party.
I don't know I don't know if there's anything they can do to make it right, though.
No, there isn't. But just getting it out there helps. So
there you go.
Anyway,
have you seen and heard in this effort by the developer advocates and ServiceNow with the Build with Build Agent challenge?
Yes. Have I? Yes,
I think you
have.
brought up this thing last week or 2 weeks ago when we last spoke, that you were trying to help somebody set it up so they can try it.
Yes, and the output that he sent me looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'll admit that.
Well, because I don't know how not to do things.
I know that.
I thought, well, I wonder if I could get my local stuff or my own stuff to build on ServiceNow, similarly using Fluent to Build Agent. Now, I'm going to say this. I haven't used the Build Agent on ServiceNow yet. Like literally, I haven't touched it yet.
That makes two of us. But I have reason for it. But first of all, here's my surprise expression of, really? Can we check this out? And then I'm going to share the thing you sent me.
Well, sure. You can share either of those things.
There we go.
Before you get into that, I did watch a few of the Build Agent Challenge videos that MVPs and CMAs and CTAs had shared.
Really?
And I'm a bit disheartened, to be frank. It feels like they're just very excited that it can make anything, even if it's not what they asked it to make. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So the bar, in my opinion, is quite low. And I believe ServiceNow may be using those videos and those things to try to refine what it does. But yeah, so that being said, I think the bar for what I made is quite low, but it's okay. So there's a tool called OpenCode you can install on a local machine, and you can hook it up to your choice of LLM provider or your self-hosted one. And once you do that, you can set up agents, and they can have tools that are configured, and you can have it run command line prompts and other things to do what you want it to do.
Fun.
And so I set up some agents to set up the ServiceNow SDK to get this. I had set up already on my computer, but I wanted to include it just in case somebody else were to take this. There's a repo, github.com/jace_sn/sn-opencode-starter.
Yes, and we're not gonna put a link in the show notes, so replay that and write it down.
Yeah, but if you go there and you fork it, you can try it out. Setting up on Windows is going to be a bear because Fluent setting up a ServiceNow SDK on Windows is a bear. But this has all the docs from the ServiceNow docs for the Fluent stuff, because ServiceNow Fluent doesn't support everything. I think it supports 19 different types of records today.
Really?
And then they have a generic record type that you can include to include any kind of record.
So real quick, we also had this question. What exactly is ServiceNow Fluent?
Fluent is an abstraction over the XML update sets.
Okay. And it's how the ServiceNow IDE reads it and understands what to show in the IDE, right?
Well, the IDE is like a Monaco or a VS Code editor.
Yeah, VS Code editor.
Right.
But if you use Visual Studio or something, it reads the Fluent, basically.
Well, it reads all of it. But Fluent lets you build the XML using true files of the types. So if you have a business rule and you want it written in JavaScript, you can have this is my business rule.js file. And then in what I call a glue file, I don't think ServiceNow has a name for it, but you can have .now.ts files where you say, I'm going to have a business rule. Its value for the script is going to be in this other file.
Yeah. So it is basically making it work as kind of a translation layer of here's the files of everything you're working on from more of a developer point of view.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And I bring that up because I've been kind of messing with the ServiceNow IDE and Build Agent, and I built this one app, or I'm building this one app. It's designed to, you put in an instance and it can help calculate ROI from AI stuff. And I built it the good old fashioned ServiceNow Studio, the newer one, not the original, but the newer one. And then I'm like, okay, well, what if I want to use Build Agent for it? So I'm going to the ServiceNow, IDE, and this is a challenge. I'm going to call it out right now, where it's all right, hang on, let me bring this up here. Is this it? All right. I'm like, all right, here's my ServiceNow IDE. First of all, you have to create a workspace. So understand what a workspace is versus a scoped application in the IDE world.
Are you already in a workspace here?
Yes, I created a workspace.
I see. Yes.
And there's my wonderful Build Agent right there. Okay, cool. And I'm like, all right, well, I already have an app out there. What do I do now? The documentation says, well, you can use a Fluent command to say, hey, convert a scoped application. But all I have is create Fluent app or restart Fluent server. Right. So I don't know if the conversion would have to be done through maybe the CLI or what it would need to do.
I'm not sure either. I know the ServiceNow protects their terminal. If you hold Control and press the tilde key, it'll open up a terminal but you can't do anything with it in there.
Really? Well, the AI answer is, navigate to App Development ServiceNow IDE, use the appropriate keyboard, and put in Fluent, convert a scope to app to Fluent.
Yeah.
So by what AI is telling me with Google, I'm just trying to do it the right way.
It doesn't line up. And the docs on ServiceNow actually have the convert stuff in it too.
All right. So not sure what's up with that. So right now, at least on the ServiceNow IDE with Build Agent, you can't pull in an already created application.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's something I don't like that. But so I haven't worked with the Build Agent yet. But maybe I will soon. Who knows? For this particular application, I want to be very particular for the stuff I put into it. So I wasn't going to use Build Agent. Yeah,
I definitely, if you want to be specific about what you want, I definitely be much more careful. The robust, so Earl Duque wrote this article with a link to like a robust prompt that he suggests folks use to build these things. But if you don't understand the limitations of Fluent, you're going to have a bad time. One of the people I watched who did this, they wanted a demo data creator. They wanted to call it Jenna data, right? Yeah. But they wanted they wanted a workspace, and they wanted to use Flow Designer to like automate creating these things. Flow Designer is not supported yet.
Really?
Workspaces are not supported yet, right? So like those two things are going to be very difficult for Fluent to do, because you'd have to literally like rip out the XML and throw it into like a record type.
Well, that's why I'm realizing it may be better to say, hey, if I'm building an application, I want to use Build Agent. Great. Start it in the ServiceNow IDE. Get it in Fluent. Even though the idea is not for like a no-code person. You look at it and you're like, this is way more than what I think an average ServiceNow developer would do. But then switch it over to the studio.
Yeah, and you can do that. Work in the studio, make changes. And then on the Fluent SDK stuff in the CLI, you can pull down those changes.
Yeah. True, at least to the developer experience. You could start building an IDE, go to Studio, probably go to App Engine Studio, which is even more of the low-code area, and build it more.
Yep.
Use Fluent Flow. Okay, great. That's just one thing to do. Hey, I forgot why I had an issue when I was originally starting the app. I was originally going to do that method, and then I had some issue with the IDE and was like, whatever, I'll start it the good old-fashioned way. So, yeah.
And then you can convert it. That's furious. Infuriating.
Yeah, and I'm not a product manager, so can't hold it to it, safe harbor, all that, blah, blah, blah. I have heard potentially, allegedly, like Build Agent is going to come to other parts of ServiceNow. So maybe it's like in ServiceNow Studio or something, and they'll start to have it out more. So, hey, it's a starting point, right? That's what I'll say.
It is a starting point. It's a conversation. But it's interesting, right? If you want to try something else that isn't using the ServiceNow Studio and you want to get your hands deep in the code and see how you can maybe do it without it, feel free to give that repo I listed out.
All right, and we will put notes in the. We will put the link in the show notes.
But I mean, it makes tables, it makes client scripts and business rules and access controls and roles and all that fun stuff. Whether it does it the way you would do it, well, that's a totally different question.
Yeah, I wonder about that, because there are a lot of reasons why you should extend, some tables, not all, but some tables off of the task table.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if I go through and use Build Agent, will it do that? I have, once again, since I haven't done it yet, though,
Yeah.
But hey, all right, cool.
I think it would depend on your prompt. But then that also leads you to wonder well, is this only for developers then? Because would a non-developer know if it should or shouldn't?
I don't know.
Right?
We're at this weird moment of ServiceNow world, of the ServiceNow timeline, where it's like, the original vision was Fred Luddy saying, I want at the time, low-code platform to build enterprise applications, more of a low-code platform to build applications. But now we're in this weird place where we've got really no-code ways to build, middle of the road, low-code ways to build, and now pro-code ways to build. But I will say this, it's at least all still on one platform. You get that benefit. Yeah. But you have to kind of know what are the pros and cons of each one.
Yeah. For instance, right now I've been working with this custom UI builder page that a colleague of mine made.
Mm-hmm.
And understanding how the data transforms work broke my brain.
Because
UI builder, in my opinion, is supposed to be an easier way to make things.
Yeah.
And I would argue that it is just not.
We're back to UI builder conversation again.
I'll walk away from it.
You know what? I'm just going to say this. yes, there is more complexity to UI Builder.
Yep.
Than, especially if you look at like Service Portal or the traditional UI layouts.
Yeah.
But there is method to the madness that with more complexity, you also get more flexibility.
Yep. I totally agree.
I don't know. I don't know if there's a good answer to it, because with UI Builder, you can make way more powerful pages than you can even with Service Portal. But Service Portal is easy, where you're like, hey, I want to create a widget that does this. Let me get right to the code and build it.
I mean, you still have to get to the code and build it in UI Builder if you want to really get there.
Well, like, but have you ever built your custom component though?
Yeah, I have, and it's awful. Or it was the last time I did it.
It's very complicated. You have to
But if you're not building a custom component, even if you're using just ServiceNow's components,
yes,
you still have to write code to build the proper JSON to pass it along to the proper widgets.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's just difficult. And if you don't really understand how the ins and outs of it all work, it's just complicated.
Yes. I agree. Complicated, but I feel like there is still far more power in it than the original UI on Jelly, good old Jelly. Incidentally, there was something where, I think I remember what it was. I was having issues getting to the ServiceNow IDE for some reason on like maybe my personal developer instance or something like that.
Sure.
And it was weird where it wasn't coming up saying your admin has to configure this. I'm like, where's the settings and where's the role? Whatever. Couldn't find anything. Finally, I start digging in to be like, all right, how do I get to like the core UI stuff of this, of how it's calculating if someone should be allowed or not allowed? You know what I had to do? I went into UI pages and there it was in Jelly. I had to go edit Jelly in a UI page to say, stop blocking me from getting to this.
Yeah. Because ServiceNow, they can't leave Jelly.
They can't.
It's like the underpinning. It's like that picture that XKCD had where like open source developers is this little tiny sliver. That's Jelly for ServiceNow.
Yeah. Now the Jelly still doesn't do much. What it does is it like runs through some of the processing and then like directs them to the React and, UI page where it's built, or not UI page, but like the workflow.
Any front end stuff. That's
But I was like, wow, I am editing Jelly and it's 2025.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That was pretty amazing.
All right. So, we Jace doing some awesome work, like open source, build agent out there, which is great.
I'm just trying to figure stuff out. I'm still working with the folks, getting the knowledge stuff sorted. I think I have a step forward. I'm going to found an LLC to make it so I can accept payments.
Oh, cool. All right.
And, figured I got all that. I got some of those questions answered, I think, this morning. But
that's awesome.
Yeah. So
maybe you could warp knowledge into like maybe being like a content creator company where if people want to speak in knowledge, they can come to you and be like, I have an idea. Can you help me curate it? And then as an idea.
Yeah. I mean, right now, I think we're going to go with donations, swag, and sponsorships.
All right. Are you going to make it nonprofit or what?
Nonprofit means more paperwork.
Really?
I guess. An LLC, you have to file to make it, and then you have to file quarterly. Like what you make. And then I think
that's just part of taxes.
Some states you have to renew it. But from what I've been told by others who have done the nonprofit, is there's more paperwork to verify you are in fact reinvesting everything back into the business.
Yeah, because you have to have like close to zero, profit every year.
Something like that. Yeah.
All right.
Which I'm not opposed to. The idea of more paperwork seems awful. Already those 5 things I mentioned, the 4 quarterlies and then the requesting, like that seems like too much.
Yeah, it is too much. I'm not for that. Not for that. Too much work. It should all be simple.
The only way to make it simpler is if some other company absorbs it and makes it part of their thing.
Hint, hint.
I am not hinting anybody. I'm just saying that would be the only way.
Okay. All right. So we had build agent conversation, UI builder, which we can't go there.
Yeah.
That's like Flow Designers all, which by the way, I got my autographed copy of the developer's handbook from
I saw your post about that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, with Tim Woodruff. And sure enough, he signed it. Like Flow Designers.
He had some colorful text.
Yeah.
I mean, black and white colorful text.
Yeah. Yes, black and white colorful text. And then it's also one of those things where I had a good conversation today with this like dentist friend of mine where we were talking about AI. And he's an older guy as well. And so he's retired, but he's working on some stuff. But he's talking about how he was seeing some stuff at AI at Ohio State and just about how, it's so powerful and they're using it for this or that. But then at the same time, the same caution of like, but you know that things can be wrong. So you've got to be careful with it, right? And that just brought me, you know, to the same old issue of like any kind of new technology that's come out has constantly had this where there's good and bad things to it, right? Like one of those things where, you know, like mobile phones, for example, you know, people saying, hey, kids are all addicted to their phones. Everyone's addicted to their phone, by the way, not just a generation. But,
Right.
you know, but yet it's made everyone be, you know, able to reach anybody wherever they are and, you know, help you with your apps and whatever, even navigation. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, we went through the same thing with cloud and mobile phones and social media and had me thinking about like, boy, what was the earliest example of technology where people probably complained about it? And then here we go. This image popped in my head. And the best part about it was I'm not an artist. I just had to tell ChatGPT what I wanted and it did a pretty good job.
For those who are listening, it's a picture of cavemen sitting around a fire in the background and two cavemen in the forefront talking. And one of the guys is telling the other, kids today think fire is so great, but it's ruining their generation. And the kids in the background are fighting over some animal on a stick.
Well, they're cooking their food, but one of them's hair is on fire.
Yes.
So anyway, that popped into mind. I posted on LinkedIn. I don't think it got the like laughter and reviews I thought it was going to get. So I'm like, all right, maybe I missed the mark on that one.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think of this AI stuff like I do. If spell check were monetized in the 70s and 80s, I think that's what this would be.
Maybe.
Because like it's complicated, sure, but it seems to be people are trying to make it table stakes for everybody. But people are concerned that where you're sending the stuff to get spell checked is doing stuff with your data.
Yes. Or not even doing stuff, just now a third party now has your data. And so yet it's now another possible data breach.
Yeah.
Right?
We all had that problem with every social network we signed up for, every place we store anything online. Like, it's a problem. And a lot of those places, you can request the data, but like they don't make it easy. Like if you want to get all of your Amazon order history, right? You can do it, but you got to request it, and it takes like 2 or 3 days. It's not like an instant thing.
Well, I just go to my order history and just show through everything. Or do you mean like years and years worth?
Years and years worth. I mean like everything. I've done it, and it's very cool. It's very interesting, especially when you like pipe it into a program you wrote to like calculate how much you spent over the years. Then you're like, oh my gosh, I've spent a year's salary on Amazon.
I'm never doing that. I don't want to know. I just don't want to know. And that's another one of those things where it's like, from a technology standpoint, Amazon has made life so much better where you're just like, oh, here's things I need. Like I'm thinking about it now. I want to order it now. I don't need it now. I just want to order now so I have it in my day or two, whatever.
Yep. But they have made acquiring stuff easy.
Yes. But now it makes it so easy to buy stuff. My wife and I are on this kick. My wife is now listening to this guy, Caleb Hammer, I think.
Yeah, I love.
He's like
Caleb
a Dave
Hammer.
Ramsey. All right, you love. Cool.
He's a financial guy who pretty much berates or yells at people who are very unwise or make unwise financial decisions.
Yes, and she's now like on this thing of like, we need to cut back on spending. And part of me is like, yeah, actually, you're right too. You're right. We do.
Yeah.
Because regardless how you think the news is, if things are going to be going south for economically, Bitcoin's dropping, for example, seems like some of the AI stocks have gone down. Okay, is there an AI bubble burst? I don't know. Was it a bubble to begin with? I don't know. I think there was some of a bubble, but at the end of the day, like I think AI is going to be here to stay. And while I think maybe some of the potential profits and everything could be inflated a bit,
you can't do anything about the AI bubble. You can do something about your personal spending.
Exactly.
So take control what you can, right? If you want to.
Exactly. And then
make things better.
And then also realize, like, as Americans, as you and I are, like, Americans traditionally are massive consumers. And it's kind of like my wife and I are sitting back looking at it and we're like, yeah, we're kind of like need to cut back on stuff. Like, I don't need that new lightsaber. Maybe I do. No, I don't. I don't need that new lightsaber. I have like 4 or 5 already.
Right, but budget for it if you really need it. Like, do you need the lightsaber, or do you need it? Do you need this other unimportant thing? And maybe you get one of the 3 unimportant things. Well, and then you're spending a third of what you did, or at least you're buying a third of what you did.
That's true. And the truth is, like, I've got all these Lego, like Star Wars Lego stuff, and I haven't like opened a bunch of them because I just haven't had time. And I'm like, you know what? I already got a bunch of Lego stuff anyway. I'm like, all right, maybe I should sell some of this stuff and just cut back.
They say giving is like the best thing you can do when you've achieved I wouldn't call it wealth, but like once you've gotten enough money where money isn't an issue, right? Like I wouldn't say that I'm rich, but like I could give and it wouldn't hurt me. Yeah, if you asked me that like 10 years ago, like if I gave, it would take away from my personal stuff.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
Maybe this is a moment for you and your wife to consider giving when you have that kind of stuff.
Are you trying to get me to give you like some Star Wars Lego sets?
I am not. But my son would absolutely love that kind of stuff. But do not.
I don't know what I'll do. But anyway, Caleb Hammer, worth listening to and realizing, hey, if you want to get ahead in the game in general, don't try to get rid of that consumer mindset.
Yeah.
It really doesn't serve well. And I know like the American economy is kind of dependent on it, right? Like not only do public companies have to show they're making profits, they have to show they're making more in profits each year, which is crazy.
That is crazy. Can I bring up one more thing? I know.
All right, one more thing. We're on a roll here.
So I sometimes doom scroll, right? It
seems
I do that
like
too.
Everybody I try
does.
Not to.
But a couple years ago, my wife and I, we learned to go sailing. I don't know if I've told you this or I brought this up ever. I love it. Getting on the water on a sailboat, it's quiet, it's clear, you can do stuff, and there's something about it that's just different because the wind is powering you, right? You have a motor, you can use the motor.
No, that's what we need for the future. Like to save on petroleum, have boats powered by wind.
I mean, they have these cruising sailboats. They exist. Like a cruise ship size sailboat. Well, it's like the fourth of a cruise ship.
It's a whole new idea, whole new industry here.
Anyways, I love sailing. And so there's this guy on, I don't know what all the platforms, it's called like Sailing with Phoenix or something. This guy worked at Discount Tire in this corporate job. And he just saving up and he just stopped showing up to work, bought a boat and now is living on the boat, went to Hawaii from Oregon and is now crossing the 7 seas. And to me, that sounds phenomenal. If I didn't have the love for my wife and my family and like where we live, like I totally want to do that. But I would have to abandon things that are here to do that. And
I don't want to do this podcast without you.
I mean, I would still do the podcast. We just have to find like spots to stop.
Oh, or use like satellite.
Most people who sail, they stay on the coastlines. They don't go across oceans. I mean, some do, I hear, right? And even then, you can get internet with certain devices, right? But it would be different. But someday I will own a sailboat. It'll be great.
I don't think I ever will, but I'll go on yours. How's that?
That sounds awesome.
Awesome. Yay. Got a friend with a sailboat.
All right, man. Well, it's been fantastic. So glad to hang out with you. I will see you, I guess, after the Thanksgiving.
After Thanksgiving, we're going to catch up again, find out how it went. Everyone, thank you for joining us at Star 42. This is Michael. Happy holidays. Thanksgiving. All right, bye. Where's the stop?